I have two books that I'm going to be reading from. The first one has to do with the sarcastic theologian part. And the second one is what I just finished, something completely different, called Ignite, a book of collected poems, because I like to reinvent myself every time I do something. So I will start out with the first book and then just do a couple of poems from the second one, so you get a little taste for it. All right. Undamned, my escape from the Old Testament. First, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay, this is a genre-bending blend of 4 different genres which managed to reach #1 on Amazon for 3 out of those 4 genres. It's a journey away from oppression towards emancipation and freedom. I call it my extreme spiritual makeover. But more importantly, it's the story of a prodigal joyfully returning home to their faith. So because it's a journey, I'm just going to read you a couple of vignettes and postcards from at different places in the journey. It was a very gradual, subtle, elegant kind of spiritual suicide. Because I wanted to belong, I gauged myself by others' words and gave those words power to exhort, inspire, or lessen, cheapen, and damn. Never realizing I was making of myself the spiritual slave in the process. Never once did I leap to self-reflection or ask questions. I took every word literally, and I assumed everything that happened to me in my life was both divinely ordained and something I had no role or input in at all. I worried. I panicked. I reacted. I worried, I panicked, I reacted. I worried, I panicked, I reacted. My holy trinity was fear, duty, and shame, and on an endless loop in my head. This is snapshot 1, the before snapshot. My religion was the most seductive, destructive, demoralizing addiction I'd ever encountered, and it was killing me. I was a spiritual zombie. I lived every day in the Old Testament because I carried it with me, waiting for punishment. And I believe the Bible told me so. I couldn't have been more wrong. I believed my religion was a source of comfort and joy, but the way I was using it in my life was a destructive and debilitating crutch. How did I get here? One note of correction, one decision based on fear at a time. Before I could even conceive of concocting an anti-addiction program for religion, I made a pilgrimage from church to church, searching for answers and comfort that led me to a place I never imagined. In I walked into McChurch. I went looking for salvation and found the Wizard of Oz. Instead of finding healing for my deep pain, I found a tiny little man behind a red curtain. I said to him, "Heal my heart." And he gave me a sweet tart. I said, "Please transform my mind." And he gave me a copy of Left Behind. I fell to my knees and begged for redemption, forgiveness, faith, and trust, and was given Robert's Rules of Order and a consumer questionnaire. I traveled far and wide in search of the truth, and the church invited me to a focus group. It made me sad. It made me scared. It made me feel like I'd been had and wondering just what was sacred. So I took a sabbatical from the fanatical and the tyrannical, and I came up with a plan to get myself undamned. It was lonely. No one wanted me. God and Elvis had left the building and were waiting patiently in the field of poppies for me to flee that emerald city. But when I found her, I found me. Soul intact and undamned. Thank you very much. Faith intact, renewed, tougher, more resilient than before. I emerged from hell. Sure that if my maker loves me, I don't need to take it to committee. No one else need cast a vote. She's got my back. And that's all she wrote. This is snapshot 2, the extreme makeover, the big reveal. I'm standing on the grounds of a very small church. It's a beautiful day. There's a bench in front of a statue of the Virgin Mary surrounded by flowers. I'm not Catholic, but it looks so wonderfully inviting. I sat and prayed, with tears streaming down my face. God, I feel like no one loves me in the whole world. I need someone to love me. As I've been praying, the preschool at the church released the kids for lunch. Dozens of adorable children ages 3 to 5 head straight in my direction. They're all wearing matching red sweaters. Their teacher asked me if I minded if they hung out with me. Of course not. They surrounded me and a blonde girl sat right next to me. They began to sing, Jesus loves me, this I know. And each one looked me in the eye, some with curiosity, some with love and compassion. Tears streamed down my face as I realized my higher power loves me more than I can even comprehend. The tears stream down my face even now as I remember these moments. He loves me. Yes, he does. There we are. He wasn't punishing me. He was waiting for me. He'd been waiting for me my whole life. I discovered the God of freedom and flexibility and flow who was so much bigger than I'd ever let him be. This God viewed me as a sacred creation today, as I was, and it wasn't conditional on making an audition or fitting a demographic criteria. I've been looking for a parable my whole life to show me the way and tell me what to do. When I was the parable, I was the woman at the well looking for redemption, acceptance, transformation. The new woman in the after picture knows what she labels as bad is anything but. She knows what she labels as good is often anything but. She knows that there's encouragement that is constant and everywhere if she's actively looking. She looks herself in the mirror and actually likes what she sees. She knows it may not look good for a while, perhaps a very good long while, but it will get better. There will be enough miracles and encouragement and angels with skin on to light the way. God has been likened to a diamond with infinite facets. The gem looks different depending on the light and the angle. If this is true of God, and we're created in his image, isn't it true of us? If we're all as precious, as resplendent, and as flawed as a diamond, what possible purpose can there be to hurrying the cutting process? The meekest, the weakest, those with the least faith or reason for faith, may eventually burn the brightest and given half the chance. We have a story to tell. And we're not finished talking yet. All we need is mercy and time to grow. Thank you. And then I'll just read 2 poems from Ignite. It is available for pre-order now. Kirkus Review said it is a sumptuous collection. So I'll read a couple of poems that they actually meant by name. And this is completely different. It's just a celebration of joy in all its different faces. Queen of the Night. This one's dedicated for all of us late bloomers. 364 fruitless days and nights she has waited, seemingly no more than a dead branch reaching for the night sky. Ignored and untended, she silently strives, but on the 365th night, she bubbles forth, fulfilling every expectation. Queen of the night, blooms like soft white stars, adorn her long stems, attracting multitudes of admirers. She reigns unquestioned until dawn, and then the queen is gone. And the last poem is called The King. Sometimes when we're looking for drama and humor, it's literally right under our noses. While Mom was at her junior league meeting, Ashley seized the moment, stealing her brother Trevor's troll and putting it at the disposal. Emboldened by the power, she chugged half an airplane bottle of Kahlua from the secret collection in the pantry with the homemade bread and butter pickles. Trevor, seeking revenge for the kidnapping of the troll, grabbed one of the Lalique wine glasses poorly hidden in the kitchen with the never-used silver polish and destined to be Ashley's inheritance. Quickly, he ran to the living room housing all the dead relatives' furniture and, smashing it against the fireplace, shouted, "Muzzle freaking tov, biatches!" Half-drunk Ashley cut out a paper boy and stabbed it with the pinking shears, saying in an eerie, high-pitched voice, "You won't be kissing girls anymore, will you?" Once the maniacal laughter subsided, she headed to the piano and played Tubular Bells over and over and over, while Brother Jack practices pirouettes for the school play, until striking his head on the door jamb, momentarily lying motionless. The sound of the greenless saber raking the chimney roused him back to consciousness, signaling that Dad was home from work after a few rounds at the Esquire bar. And the coup was over for today.